So here's the point, and I'm going to wrap up, summarize, and be finished on this. The African American in the United States, because of the circumstances that we faced here, shaped a new ethos. Just as the ethos of Kemet and Africa was the truth, and it continued to be central to us, ethos is what defines the essence of a people. And historical circumstance has a lot to do with how people come to shape a special way of behaving in the world, of thinking in the world, of acting in the world, of being in the world. And so in drawing from the inner souls of Africa, the souls, as Du Bois called it, of Black folks, we had to draw on a resource that it wasn't necessary for other Africans to draw on to the same level, because they didn't have to go into their souls to recreate a culture. It was dropped in the Caribbean and it was continued. And then they had to fight the slave influences and everything else. So what is that ethos? And this is what I really want to say to everybody here. Biggest weakness of Black people in this country is we underestimate our greatest strengths. And our greatest strength is our culture. It is beautiful beyond expression. When God hears, the art form, which is the other achievement of enslaved Blacks, we didn't just create a new African culture based on fundamental African principles with new additions. We created an art form. And that art form is beautiful beyond beauty itself. And the high point of that art form is what I'm wearing here, jazz, Black classical music, because it's the most complex and beautiful of all that we created, but it rests on the spiritual blues. So what is it that makes us unique? There's an African-American saying that helps describe this. That saying goes like this: I would rather be the worst innovator than the best imitator. Hear me? What this is saying, innovation is at the peak of what we do. The innovator is the one that creates new systems. George Washington Carver was an innovator. He was one. Coltrane was an innovator. Miles was an innovator, you know? In every field, there's 1 or 2% that are in that innovative area. And so even if you aren't a good innovator, our ethos demands that we try and be original. And so what is the ethos of the African in America? The ethos of the African in America is creativity. You're the most creative Africans on the planet, and you're the most creative people on the planet. Not because we were any more special than any other Africans, but because the circumstances that we were in called on us to draw on this resource. And so it has enabled us to bring beauty into the world. Beauty on many different levels, but it's manifested in the character of our people. We have basically, as families, survived because of the creativity of our parents. My great-grandmother, Sylvia Brown, she looked after a household full of children that was near broke. My grandmother worked and she took care of the children. And at night, she'd go into the pantry. There was literally nothing in that pantry. And she'd pull something out and make it. And the kids would all say, my mother included, "What is it, Grandma?" She'd say it, "slop gullion." If she just said slop, you wouldn't want to eat it. But gullion, well, there must be something to it. That's at the soul of Black folks. You hear me? Creativity. You never know what a Black person is going to do. That's what I always say. You know, the hardest thing to do with Black people is predict us. I don't even try, because creativity is at our core. And so when we look then at systems for transformation, then what we need to do is appreciate the fact that we have created something special here. And we need to draw from African culture to restore memory, something that we've lost through enslavement, to strengthen our families and extended family communities. We need to draw from the best of our African past to strengthen this African-American reality. But we need to appreciate what we have created here. And I want to say, in the sixfold stages of mental freedom, those who are caught in this no nation Negro category, which is the category in the sixfold stages of assimilation, this is the path for de-assimilating. This is the path for finding your way from being in no nation to being a part of your own nation. So, but how do we do that? One is we have to read. You can't lead unless you read. You can't lead a meaningful life unless you draw from the best ideas around you that will help to enrich you, enrich your life. I asked my wife, I said, what did love mean to her? She said, it means growth. She wants to grow. And if you're going to love yourself, you got to grow. Growing is essential in life. So the sixfold stages of mental freedom, this whole thing of what we need to do to prepare for freeing our minds, it means appreciating the depths from which we come from, understanding the African root to understand the new African root.